There is a peculiar weight to the air in Savannah. It isn't just the humid subtropical heat that clings to your skin like a damp shroud, or the way the Spanish moss hangs from the live oaks like the ragged hair of a drowning woman. No, the weight of Savannah is the weight of secrets. In 1733, this patch of the Deep South became the site of the first settlement in the province of Georgia. It was the last of the original 13 colonies, the youngest child of the British Empire. But history suggests that being the last meant something darker. It meant the land had already watched 12 other sisters rise, and it was tired of the intrusion. The locals don't often talk about the Surveyor's debt, but if you sit long enough in one of the city's 22 historic squares, you'll feel it. They say that when the first stakes were driven into the Yarmacraw Bluff, the ground didn't just yield, it sighed. Legend tells of a map, drawn in 1732, that wasn't meant for the living. It was a grid designed not for commerce, but for containment. Savannah is a city of perfect right angles and beautiful, symmetrical parks, but look closer at the geometry. There are those who believe the squares were built as spiritual anchors, heavy, stone-weighted traps meant to pin down something that lived in the marshes long before the British arrived. When Georgia seceded from the Union in 1861, the city changed. The blood spilled during the years of conflict soaked into the sandy soil, and the founding hunger of the land was finally fed. It's said that during the Reconstruction and the rise of the New South, the city's architects tried to ignore the sightings. But how can you ignore the grey linen man? He is seen most often when the Atlantic fog rolls in from the east, creeping up the Savannah River. He wears the coat of a colonial gentleman, but his face is the color of the river silt. He stands at the edge of the squares, never entering them, as if the very geometry of the parks forbids his crossing. He is the embodiment of the 13th colony's debt, a reminder that while Georgia became a titan of industry and a pillar of the Sun Belt, the foundation was laid on a bargain that hasn't yet been fully paid. They say that if you walk the streets at night, your footsteps will occasionally echo with a second, heavier beat. That is the sound of the land trying to reclaim its original shape. The state has grown. Atlanta has risen with its glass towers and its millions of souls, but down here on the coast, time moves differently. The moss continues to grow, the humidity continues to stifle, and the squares continue to hold their breath. Because in Savannah, the past isn't just something you read about in a history book. It's something that watches you from the shadows of the oaks, waiting for the anchors to finally slip. Be careful where you step. In the youngest colony, the oldest things are still very much awake.